I feel like Daniel Jones getting picked by the Giants could be a great use of that meme when the guy wakes up in the hospital. Like there's a Giants fan there who just went into a coma right after the 5th overall pick and said, "Doctor, who do we pick? Dwayne Haskins or Josh Allen?" And while I'm sure his initial reaction would be very much compared to most Giants fans' initial reaction, which was not great, and I kind of understand why. I mean, let's just be honest for a second. Most of us are not NFL scouts. However, we all do still have our opinions, and we feel very strongly about them. So when you are the Giants, and you have these two picks that are seemingly great picks, I mean, you have Josh Allen, one of the best edge rushers in the draft, and you have Dwayne Haskins, easily one of the best quarterbacks in the draft, it seems like a no-brainer to at least pick one of those two. But instead, they decided to pick up Daniel Jones, and I really just don't understand this pick if I'm being totally honest. And it's definitely not because I don't like Daniel Jones as a quarterback. I actually do like him a good amount, and I'll talk about that more in a second. But really my problem with it is that you didn't have to draft him with the 6th overall pick. Almost everyone had Haskins ahead of Jones on their boards, so if someone did take Haskins unexpectedly, then you could simply just trade up and try to get Jones in the next pick. So I really do personally think that the move should have been to get Josh Allen at 6. And in fairness, they did end up getting Dexter Lawrence with the 17th overall pick, who I like a lot, so it's not a huge deal, but it is a move that I probably wouldn't have made if I was the Giants. And I also probably wouldn't have made it because I personally just like Haskins better than Jones. I mean, I said in my Haskins video, I like Haskins better than Murray, so obviously I like him better than Jones, and that's not a shot at Jones. I just think Haskins is going to be an elite quarterback in this league. Although that's probably putting too much pressure on him, but I think he's going to be at least very good. But okay, enough of me rambling. Let's actually talk about Daniel Jones as a quarterback himself, because that is what this video is about. And honestly, there are some things that I just really like about Jones. I know I've been very negative at the start of this video, but that's not Jones' fault at all. But that's just because I thought the pick was just a bit too high in my opinion, and Daniel Jones didn't get asked to pick 6 overall, he just got picked when he got picked. But anyways, one of the things that Daniel Jones has been getting some credit for and some not so much credit for is the fact that he doesn't take a ton of chances. And honestly, it is kind of true. Like on this play, it's going to be a cover 2 zone. So if we take a look into cover 2 zone, typically something like that route right there could actually be a great route to run in this situation. It's a deep route towards the sideline, and since it's the cover 2, there will be one safety going back, which basically makes it one-on-one coverage. And you could also look for something deep down the field on the bottom half of the screen because there are 2 Duke receivers running in that direction. And of course, because there can only be one safety back, then one in theory should be able to get open. And then last but not least, there's a curl route right there that will be in a gap in coverage, and that's probably what's going to be the most open, however it's going to be the least far down the field. So it's the classic dilemma, right? I mean, what do? Do you take a shot deep down the field and try to see if you can pick up a big gain, or do you just throw it short and make sure you can pick up some yards? And in my opinion, and in Daniel Jones' opinion, the move actually is just move the chains, get the first down, and trust that you're not going to turn the ball over later in the drive. Yes, big explosive plays are huge, and that's how you can be very effective. I mean, just see the Chiefs offense to show how explosive plays can really mean so much. But if you have a sure thing, then take the sure thing. And look up right now, I mean, that receiver is just wide open. They're basically giving you a first down, so take the first down. And again, it does go back to the mindset. I mean, how many college quarterbacks will we see taking a shot deep down the field to try to pick up some yards? A good amount. Especially these NFL level guys who kind of want to show off what they can do before they actually get to the big leagues. So it is a great showing of not trying to do too much by Daniel Jones. It's those medium and short passes that Jones has been getting a lot of credit for, and I totally understand why. I mean, he definitely fits that quote-unquote game manager mold in my opinion. Like on this one, it's another good example. It's going to be a cover 2 zone, and this is 4th and 3, so it's very crucial that they pick up 3 yards here. Oh really, Jackson? It's important to pick up 3 yards on a 4th and 3? Thank you for your brilliant insight. Yes, okay, that was kind of obvious. But moving on, what Duke is going to do is have their plus receiver run a go route on the top half of the screen. From there, the slot receiver will simply run an out route and just try to pick up those 3 yards. That's the whole purpose of this play. So now as you see, once the play develops, that receiver is decently open, but there definitely is still going to be a Pittsburgh player in the area. Now, one of the things that I like about this play from Jones is there's absolutely no hesitation. I mean, right now, he sees this play develop, and he's going to throw the ball exactly when he has to allow him to pick up the first down. And yes, I know it seems pretty obvious that yes, you should obviously throw the ball as soon as you have a receiver open, but let's be honest, a lot of quarterbacks, especially young college quarterbacks, don't do that as much as they should. Guys get nervous, especially on a 4th and 3, and they will hesitate and often try to run the ball, especially when you're a good runner like Daniel Jones. It's definitely a real problem that quarterbacks have in college. But it's a problem you can't have in the NFL because the talent is obviously just so much higher of a level that you just can't get away with that kind of thing. But Daniel Jones was smart there. His sole purpose was just pick up the 3 yards, and the second he saw he had an opportunity to do that, he did exactly that. And as I just mentioned, Daniel Jones is a pretty good runner, and this play will be a good example of that. It's going to be a cover 2 zone, and what Duke is doing this time is they're going to have the slot receiver right there run an out route to the middle of the screen, and then their halfback will run out right over there. So now Daniel Jones is surveying the field and seeing what's going to be open, and what happens right now is that an edge rusher is actually going to try to go around the tackle to the bottom half of the screen. It's something you see fairly often, and the whole purpose is to try to just make sure you can get to the quarterback, obviously. I mean, that is an edge rusher's job. But Duke's left tackle on this play is going to do a very good job of pushing the edge rusher behind Jones, and it allows Jones to move up and pick up some yards. So now as you see, he still has open space in front of him, and he is kind of getting close to that first down marker. But there still is a Pittsburgh defender in the area, so Jones can't just run through him. He has to have some sort of an idea. But the problem is he doesn't and ends up taking a huge hit. And now, granted, people will say, but yeah, he got the first down, so wasn't that a good thing? And my response to that would be, well, if this is the Super Bowl, then sure, take that hit. It's definitely worth it then. But there's no reason in taking a big hit like that on a 1st and 10 trying to pick up the first down. You have to slide there, accept the fact that it's going to be a 2nd down and 3, and just trust your offense that you can still pick up 3 yards on 2 plays. That being said, I do like that he has that heart and is willing to take a hit. I mean, it's not something I would love to see if I'm a company paying him millions of dollars to stay healthy and play football, but it is something I'd love to see as a fan. But the best ability is availability, and he will have to make sure that he can remain healthy. While I'm on the topic of things I just don't love from Jones, let's talk about this play. As you see right now, there is going to be 2 backs in the game, so they're trying to sell as though it's going to be some type of a run. But what they're actually going to do is have their fullback go out the block, and they're going to fake a play action to the top half of the screen. I guess I don't have to say fake a play action, they're just going to run play action. You don't fake a play action. I guess a fake play action would just be a regular run. But anyways, then at the bottom half of the screen, it's going to be a pretty simple concept that's going on. It's similar to the play I showed earlier where they have their plus receiver running a go route right there, and then they have a slot receiver running a flat route right over there. It's a play call that Duke likes to run, as it is a pretty good way to get a man open, and as of right now, it's doing exactly that. Duke has a receiver open, and this play is starting off good, however, it's not going to stay that way. There's a Virginia Tech player right there, right in Jones' face, so Jones has to be ready for this. Jones should be aware that there could be extra pressure since they are really trying to fake a run, so he has to be prepared for potentially a guy to try to get into his way. I think you would probably see Russell Wilson roll to the bottom half of the screen and then try to make the throw. However, it looks like Jones didn't even realize that there was a player right in his face. The ball ends up getting tipped up and intercepted, so it's definitely a bad play from Jones. And again, it should be mentioned that not every time the ball is tipped at the line is it going to end up in an interception. I mean, that's certainly fluky. But at the same time, it still wasn't a great play. I mean, even if that ball fell incomplete, well, an incomplete pass isn't a great play. And so why am I showing this play? Is it because I don't think Daniel Jones has great field vision? Well, no, not at all. His field vision is actually very good. That's one of the things I really like about him. I'm kind of just showing that play to show that him, along with any other young quarterback, is going to make some young player mistakes. I mean, that's a tough play to read, but it's a play you're going to have to read in the NFL if you're going to be successful. It definitely falls under one of those, not a reason I wouldn't draft a guy, but is something I would look to improve on next year if I'm Daniel Jones. But anyways, let's get back to what I like about Daniel Jones. Like on this play, it's going to be man coverage, and those 2 receivers are both going to be going up against those 2 corners right there. What Duke's doing on this play is saying, you know what, we are definitely going to get at least 3 points on this drive. It's a 3rd down and goal, and a lot of teams would try to force the issue and make sure they get the touchdown on this play, but that's not what Duke's going to do. They're going to have a plus receiver on a quick curl right over there, and then their slot will simply just run a fade route right over there. So again, total no risk play here. If you watched my Rob Gronkowski video, you would see how often the Patriots did this with Tom Brady throwing at the Rob Gronkowski. I mean, fade routes are a great route to run in this type of situation. And here's why. If you take a look right now, because that first Duke receiver is stopped, that means that the other defensive back in the area can't run backwards at all because he has to make sure that Duke receiver is covered. If he did run deep, then you could just simply throw it there for an easy touchdown. Now the other receiver is running up to the top half of the screen, and look at where Daniel Jones is going to throw this ball. This is the definition of, if my team can't get it, nobody can. I mean, that's just a perfect throw right there. It was a good catch too, but really just a perfect throw from Jones on that one. I mean, he had exactly the right amount of touch on that. He didn't throw it too hard. He threw it just with enough of a lob to allow it to get past all the defensive backs and get to the receiver for a touchdown. It was also a very low-risk play because the chances of that getting picked were very small. That's the thing about Jones. He really can make some great throws, and not just in short-range situations, too. That's one of the things that keeps getting talked about. Well, he's more of a game manager. He's Alex Smith. But I don't think he's San Francisco 49ers Alex Smith. I think he's Kansas City Chiefs Alex Smith. I mean, he can throw the ball deep when necessary. I mean, he's certainly far from a gunslinger, but he can definitely throw the ball deep pretty well. Like on this play, it's going to be man coverage at the top half of the screen, and what those 2 Duke receivers who are getting covered right there are going to do is they're going to be running those routes right there. And also worth mentioning, the corner who's in charge of covering that receiver right there is playing incredibly off that receiver. I mean, he's just very far back, and since that receiver is running an out route, that would actually be a great way to pick up some yards. And now after the play develops a little bit, that guy's wide open. I mean, this is an easy first down, but Jones is going to say, hey, screw it, let's take a shot downfield. It's kind of going against what everyone says that Daniel Jones does, but he does do this kind of thing from time to time. He picks his moments for sure, but this is the moment he's deciding it's worth picking, so he's going to step up, take a hit, and make a great throw downfield. That ball wasn't caught, but honestly it probably should have been. I mean, not to say it was a bad play by any means, but I'm sure Golden Tate would have made that catch. And I didn't just cherry pick that play to show that he throws downfield sometimes. I mean, here he'll do it again. It's going to be a cover 2 zone. It'll have that receiver right there run deep downfield. So now this play is going to develop for a second. And one thing you want to take a look at is take a look at Daniel Jones here. He's going to have very calm and very good pocket presence on this play, where because both edge rushers are running behind him, he's going to step up in the pocket. Not much. He's only going to move up a couple of steps, but just to make sure those edge rushers aren't able to get to him. Because of this, it gives him plenty of time and he's able to square his shoulders and make another great throw downfield. Once again, the Duke receiver wasn't able to help him out and make that catch, and again, neither of those plays were bad plays by the receivers, but those definitely are the types of plays that are big completions in the NFL. I mean, everyone always talks about how it's so much harder in the NFL because you're going up against so much more talented players, but you also have so much more talented players on your side as well. And obviously, it still is way harder to play in the NFL than in college, but it is worth mentioning that there are some advantages too. One more great example of a deep ball is if you take a look right now, Duke actually has 3 backs in the game on this play. So doing this is obviously to try to sell that there's going to be some type of a run of some sort. Really, the only time you would do this is if it was a run or play action, and this one is going to be the latter. They're going to have a receiver right there run deep to the middle of the screen, and then they're going to have one of their backs move up to the top half of the screen. This play fake is going to work out pretty well, and Virginia Tech is a little bit fooled, and now at this point, there's going to be a receiver that's in great position on this one. Because of the trickery in the route he's running, and because it's man coverage, he now has great leverage to try to get open, and now all Jones has to do is make a great throw, and that's exactly what he's able to do. This time the pass is still bobbled, but ends up being a catch for a touchdown, and this one it was finally caught. Jones can make every throw, really. I mean, he's a good player. He's going to get criticized for going ahead of Haskins, but that doesn't mean that he isn't a solid player. And while I do think what sets Haskins apart is just his fantastic ability to read defenses, Jones can still read defenses pretty well himself. Like on this one, it's going to be a cover 3 zone, and the slot receiver is going to be running a go route right over there. The point of that is actually more of a setup route, because the Virginia Tech player will then have to go back to make sure that he's covering up that go route, and then Duke will just send another receiver right over there, which is already in a small gap in coverage, but because that Virginia Tech player is already going to be running deep, this could open up that gap. So now after the play develops, that first part is going to work out very well. That Virginia Tech player has been successfully taken out of the play, and the other Virginia Tech player who's in charge of covering the flat has to be aware of that halfback who's right down there. So that receiver is going to be open, and Jones sees that. You can tell he sees that by the way he's already in the throwing motion getting ready to throw it right there. He hits him, and Duke's able to pick up a first down and get the ball past midfield. Jones is a good player, and I think he'll be a solid player in the league. I know it sounds a little bit silly to criticize a team for drafting a good quarterback, but I just think it's the situation this time. I actually wouldn't have hated this move if, let's just say, the Raiders selected Haskins and then Tampa Bay selected Josh Allen. Then I wouldn't have really hated this move at all. I just personally think that there were better players on the board, but that's just me and that's my opinion. We will have to wait and see how this plays out. I mean, just last year, the Bills got heavily criticized for drafting Josh Allen over Josh Rosen, and now, at least after one season, that's looking like a pretty good decision from Buffalo. I also hate how much heat Daniel Jones is going to be getting from this. I mean, it's not his fault. He didn't get asked to pick 6th overall. He just ended up getting picked 6th overall. I mean, I don't know that this guy has MVP level talent, but I hope he proves me wrong and wins an MVP. I mean, that would be awesome. I don't root against people. That's really not my style. I'm not going to be like one of those TV talking heads that act like they can never make a wrong prediction. I'm going to make some wrong predictions. And my prediction as of right now is I don't think that this was a great move, but I definitely could be wrong. The fact of the matter is, the 6th overall pick is a small price to pay for a franchise quarterback, so if they feel like Daniel Jones is their guy, then I can't really hate on them too much for taking him. I think they'll be wrong, but who knows? I mean, we're all just speculating at this point. We really will just have to wait it out and see what happens.